Hi Vicky, here is the video for your reading. Bear with me because this is the first time that I've ever taped a reading and released it without doing it live, so for people. So this will be new for me too, so I hope this goes well. We're just going to see what we see and um, go from there. So normally I go through a whole spiel with people over the phone, but I don't have to do that with you because we're just going to give you this video. So I hope that this goes well, and I hope it gives you the answers that you need from your email. I'm understanding that we're looking at your career space, so I'm going to begin to shuffle the cards and sort of connect to the energy. Just give me one moment. So as I'm shuffling, the feelings that I get is that, and I know that you said this in your email to me, that you've had a business for 29 years. But what I feel like with these cards is that they're coming together quite easily. There's like an ease to them, right? But I also feel like there's almost like a boredom going on in them. I know that sounds strange, but I do get hits as I'm shuffling the cards. It may be that, you're not very inspired by your work at this time. It's a little bit sort of rote or formulaic for you. It's easy in the sense, I'm not that housekeeping is easy work, but it's like the ropes. You've done this, you've been to this rodeo is kind of the feeling that I'm getting with these cards. So it's kind of like I can do this with a blindfold on or my hand tied behind my back. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it just doesn't feel very inspiring, is sort of what I'm feeling. Like, I feel this desire from the cards, that you might want something that challenges you or that excites you in some way. And so let's, just keep that in mind. I hope that makes sense to you. Normally I have somebody telling me whether that's a yes or a no. So without that, I'm kind of flying blind. So I'm just gonna hope that that does resonate with you and make sense to where you're at in your career space. Now, I will lay out the cards. I'll explain the positions of where the cards, what they represent, and then I will do a few clarifiers if I feel like there's anything that needs clarification. So let's get into this. Now, this card here, is what I call the U card. And what I mean by this is it's sort of like the default setting. This card tells me a bit about where you're at right now in your present moment space. This card changes throughout, even the day. We're not in the total amount of time, right? But it gives me a general sense of where you kind of operate from most of the time right now in your life. Also, it can give me insight into sort of what you could potentially be creating for the future, right? So we want to keep that in mind as we look at this card. So let's see what this is. So this is the Ace of Crystals, and this is brilliant. I love this because you did mention in your letter to me or your email to me that you said that you were taking on some sort of new thing with your computer where you wanted to work potentially online from home, and that you were trying to learn things, I believe, on YouTube. This to me is about that. Aces are about new beginnings. The Ace of Crystals specifically, let me just show you this, is the element of swords or the element of air, which is the mind, right? This to me feels like about being stimulated. The boredom, or boredom maybe is the wrong word. The familiarity is a really good word, I think, for this reading. The familiarity that you have with the career that you're in now is comfortable, right? It's a little bit maybe stale or boring or uninspiring. This to me feels like the desire for that inspiration, right? When we look at this, we have this beautiful diamond in the center. We have all of these exploding crystals, right? And so when I look at this, it makes me think of the idea that there's an opportunity not only for us to find a new element of brilliance, but new ways of thinking, new ways of seeing things, new ways of exposing ourselves, to our own intelligence, to the way our mind works, engaging our mind in a way that is exciting, challenging, and allows us to sort of rise to that occasion. So when I look at this, I feel like this might be the excitement of working on your computer, the idea of learning new things, the idea of working from home. Is there an opportunity here to shine? Certainly. This is the Ace of Crystals or the Ace of Swords, right? It's about opening up new doors mentally, new decisions being made, new opportunities coming into play, and those being exciting and new and possibly like unknown, but we're not going to allow that to stop us, right? The Ace of Crystals to me, or the Ace of Swords, is about kind of pushing ourselves a little bit further than we have maybe in the past, and challenging ourselves in ways where we're really allowed to shine. And that's sort of what I see in the design of this card. So is there new things on the horizon for you career-wise? Very much so. I would say that this is a very positive sign that new things are on their way. Even if you might still be kind of going to the same job that you've been doing for 29 years, stay with the exuberance, the excitement that exists in this, the newness of this, whatever it is you are doing that's leading you towards this new opportunity. Stay with it, and do it when you find moments to, right? And be inspired by that. Allow this excitement to kind of carry you as you move forward in your day-to-day life. Now, the next card is down below. I call this the foundation card. What this card represents is a period from time in the past, right? That I use the analogy, when you build a home, you lay the foundation first, right? So it's what everything that the house is built upon. So if this is the house of your life, right, the energy of your career life in these cards, this is the foundation. This is the part from the past that we built that opened the door for all of these cards to come into play. And so this card represents not only what could be driving these cards, right, but it's also sometimes everything is built upon this period from our past, right? So it could also be holding everything in place. So we need to pay attention to this card, right? So this is the Four of Cups. This is anger. The Four of Cups, usually in traditional tarot, it signifies boredom, right? It can signify like indecision and boredom, lack of sort of making a choice sometimes. In this one, it has to do with anger. To me, I feel like there might be, let me just look at this for 1 minute. I feel like there is resentment here. I feel like there might be something. We're looking at this from a career space, but I don't know why this feels romantic to me. I feel like there might have been a breakup at some point a few years ago. I feel like we're resentful. I feel like quite possibly it sort of shifted things for you. And what I want to say about this is this anger or this frustration, this letdown, also shifted you to sort of look at other things in your life in different ways. So I almost feel like there might have been a betrayal or of some sort. I kind of feel like what served you back then. Let me see. What served you back then when this maybe happened, right? If this was a breakup of some sort or a betrayal of some sort in a romantic fashion. Maybe if it's not romance, it might be family, but somebody close to you sort of, I kind of get the feeling this is romance though. When they left, it kind of soured your view of things, if that makes any sense. Like, I think that it might have taken you a minute to get back to normalcy and to viewing sort of the things that you had created and what you had as being beneficial. I almost feel like there's a resentment in here towards our life after this happened to us, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that connects to you. Normally I have somebody live on the phone that can verify this for me. But when I look at this, it feels like that was sort of taken away from us. And I'm applying this to sort of the career space. So like the work that you had done for 29 years, the career that you built, right? Maybe somewhere in the last, when this happened, it was sort of like all of a sudden we couldn't see the benefit of what we had done, of the work we had put in. It was like we kind of became like we lost sight of all of the hard work we had put in, if that makes any sense. So, and I think that this is not necessarily a bad card. I think that it actually taught us something in the long run. I think that what it did is we're beyond that now. We have this brilliance going on here, this opportunity for new desire and this opportunity to shine and to grow ourselves. This to me says that like we gave away a part of ourselves or what everything that we had worked for the damage that was created maybe through this experience by another, right? But we also gave them sort of like how when we get hurt by somebody and then everything kind of falls apart, we can't necessarily see the benefit of the things that we've done good in our lives, right? And so I feel like that was sort of taken from you a little bit. And that's kind of also where you might have shifted into this state of sort of, desiring more, wanting something better, something more uh, like new that you could appreciate or that you could like reconnect to again, if that makes any sense. And I feel like that's what's triggering off this brilliance in the center and what's compelling you to want to try something new, to learn something new, to do something different. You'll have to let me know in the feedback if this is indeed correct. I sort of feel like I'm flying blind here. Now, this next card is up above you. This is your higher self. This tells me what your soul or your higher self is wanting during this time in your career space, what it's looking towards, what it's kind of looking after. Now, this is the Nine of Wands. This is integrity. Though Nine of Wands can sometimes be a little bit of a slog card, like a little bit of a struggle. Nines represent personal completion. I love that this is integrity because to me, if you look at the art of this card, it's very much a spiritual card. And it being in the higher self spiritual space speaks to the idea. Wands is also the element of fire and the spirit. So this fits beautifully here. It speaks to me about there's been a long, hard journey, right, in the career space. We've probably worked hard to get where we are. We've established ourselves over the course of the years. There's been times where maybe things have gone off track. That's some of this, but that's not due to us. It's due to maybe situations outside of us or places where things maybe fell apart, and those things affected how we saw the accomplishments and the achievements we had made. We kind of lost sight of them maybe. Up here, I feel like this is about staying true to yourself, doing what you need, and also letting go of some of the heaviness, any sort of areas where you might hold yourself back or don't necessarily, what's the word, like think it's possible or to me, when I look at this integrity card, it's about knowing that you deserve everything that you desire and knowing that you can have it even if there's been situations that you've dealt with in the past where you haven't been able to achieve it or it's been taken from you in some way, shape, or form, right? So to me, this is about sort of standing in the strength of who we are, what we know to be true at a deep spiritual level, and keeping that focus, keeping sight of that, and coming to terms and sort of separating ourselves from maybe some past pain, upset, resentments, angers, doubts. I don't feel like they fully exist in the now. I think that you've probably shifted yourself away from them, right? But uh, are they still sort of lingering? Yes, right. This is sort of the uh, this being the foundation speaks to like these moments in the past were the impetus for everything to shift towards what it is that you're working on now, right? This being based in integrity is it's about staying true to yourself. And your higher self wants that for you. Your spirit wants you to stay connected to that, the strength that is within you, doing the right thing, even if sometimes the right thing is the harder route, right? That could be, learning these lessons on YouTube and beginning to start a whole new exploration. You can do it. That's what this card says to me. You have to believe that you can do it and stay true to it, and continue forward with it. And I think that you'll be able to achieve it, right? Even if there is a little bit of hard work involved. I do feel like there's a singularity to this too. This little wooden statue here is pulling my attention. So there might be a little bit of loneliness going on for you. Like I almost get a feeling when I'm looking at all of these cards together, it's sort of like you've had to do everything on your own. And I think that that should be a achievement. And somewhere in this, I wonder if you kind of see that as a burden or as a punishment, and I don't want you to. And I think that that's what this brilliance card, it's being an ace, and ace being a number one too, which makes me think about the aloneness that's here. Um, this speaks to the idea of really seeing that and owning that within you, and carrying that forward into the now and onward, so that you can really shine and understand that everything that you've done and everything that you've achieved has really been because of you as a person, and how you may have been treated or where things have gone wrong. Um, doesn't necessarily reflect on what you deserve. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to you, but that's kind of the sense that I'm getting from these cards, or the message that I want to deliver from these cards. So let's go to the outside influences. These cards tell me a bit about sort of the outside influences, and these can be people, sometimes events, sometimes things more vague like belief systems or energies that are having an effect on you. At this time, it can be either positive or negative, but they give us a little insight into what's going on around us. So we have the Nine of Swords, which is narrowness. This is usually a sign of worry. It can be negativity. It can be too much overthinking. There could be some fear. I kind of get a feeling that this is almost ancestral in a way. This is about, like, I want to say, like, the voices in our head. These aren't necessarily of us, but they're like maybe the voices of our mother or our ancestors that tell us, "Oh, Vicky, are you sure now's the time to be changing careers? You've done so well. Da, 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 da. Do you really want to start to learn a new task at your age," kind of thing? And that's not really sort of fair to do. Um, to yourself, but it is what's going on, and it might be sort of trying to come in here and attack some of this excitement that's going on, right? This Nine of Crystals, there is a horizon there, so there is an opportunity to sort of see the bigger picture. Is it going to require some work to slog through it, or to work our way through beyond sort of the naysayers or other people's fears for us, their worries for us? Yes, right? But it's here to kind of challenge us. And I think that the strength that we see in this integrity card and staying true to ourselves, and the strength that we see in this Ace of Crystals, really brings us through. Also, I will say that the strength in this Four of Cups, whatever we dealt with in the past, whatever the specifics are of your past and where things have gone wrong, even if your world has been shattered at times, and you've been angry about it or frustrated with it and had to recover, you have recovered in a way that I imagine has been, I don't know if diplomatic is the right word, but I feel like with this integrity card, it speaks to the idea that you've done the right thing for the right reasons all the way along, is sort of the sense that I get with all of this. So even when other people come along and have something to say that doesn't necessarily fit your narrative, don't allow that in, okay? Now, yes, I love how you have two nines and two aces. The other outside influence in all of this is the Ace of Worlds, right? This is the Ace of Pentacles. This is an affirmative yes, right? Aces tend to be yeses. They tend to be positive. They tend to be new. Now, this is about, like, this card is literally called success. And to me, the design of this card always makes me think of the planets lining up in our favor, right? Now, the planets can certainly line up in our favor, especially when we have this brilliance in our center, right? We're almost calling it to us. We have this spiritual integrity. We've worked hard to get where we are. We've put in the effort. We're strong enough and ready to deal with it. We have to own it and want it and desire it from a really pure place. But as we do that and we live in that desire, it's right here, right? In this Ace of Crystals. If we don't listen to the naysayers or the voices in our head that tell us, "Oh, maybe that's not the wisest or the safest decision," I feel like we open the door for this success and these planets to line up in our favor and it to start to come towards us, right? And so we've got these two kind of heady energies on either side of us, that one kind of coincides with our spirit, right? But remember, Nine of Wands can be about sort of a long struggle, but there's an integrity. This card is called integrity, meaning that we've learned the lessons, we've taken the high road, we continue to take the high road, we continue to put in the sort of honest work, right? We continue to keep our integrity about us and do the right thing for the right reasons. And it's not always the easiest route, right? And so we have these two kind of vying and these two vying. And I want to stay with these two. Like, I want us to, when we are in this brilliance and this excitement energy and we're thinking about opportunity, I'm not saying get up and leave everything and go running after a new dream, but I'm not saying don't either. Does that make sense? Like, you want to be open to that because that is calling in this success. Worlds is the element of earth. Pentacles or worlds is also the money career sector. So this Ace of Worlds coming in as an outside influence says that yes, indeed, successful change and opportunity can come to you monetarily, career-wise, all of that. But you need to stay focused in your mind to the positive aspects of it, not slip into sort of the more worry or fear-based stuff that's here that's going to want to hit you from the outside. Like this could represent as, oh, is now really the time to want to be changing careers amidst COVID, like silly things like that. Now, those might be viable thoughts, but how much of rent do we want to give them in our head when we've got this success, this potential for new successes coming towards us from the outside, right? Which one do we want to give our attention to? Certainly, I think this one. Okay. Now, this next card is a potential outcomes card, and I always caveat this. This tells me a bit sort of about where things might head towards naturally, barring that nothing major changes, right? So this card is not set in stone. If it's a negative card, we can use it as a warning to make choices and changes to avoid this outcome happening. But if this card is positive, we can take heart in the fact that we're naturally sort of heading towards it and we don't have to do much to change it. After this, I'm going to grab a deck and we'll do a few clarifiers just to kind of see what's going on behind some of the energies of these. Okay, so let's look at that. So this is the Eight of Worlds. Beautiful. This is balance. It's the number 8, which always represents sort of balance to me. And again, we have Worlds, which is that element of Earth. It's the Pentacles energy. It's the money, career, sector energy. It's the change card, though. To me, the Eight of Pentacles is through like hard work and labor, we bring about opportunities for change and blessings, dedication, paying attention, doing all the small details. But this always shows the 4 cycles of the summer, spring, and fall and winter, and also the like rotation of the planets. To me, is this change going to come easily? Not necessarily. Pentacles is a slow energy. But I do feel like if you give the next year towards sort of this idea of inspiration and what inspires you, this success is going to work its way in. A lot could change for you. If you're having a question about should I do the new work from home computer route, I think that it's worth taking on. I think that the change could, it's generally the Eight of Pentacles is a positive card. It will bring about a positive change. There could even be a move in here. I sometimes signify this card with moves too, and that's not a traditional meaning with this card, but with this particular art, it makes me think of big things shifting over the course of, say, maybe a year's cycle. And so you might find yourself, if you follow this success route, that the change that you go through could be rather profound, and it may not just be in the career space, it could be in your home space, it could be in a lot of different things, but I think that it's always for the best, if that makes any sense. Like, it's always for how do I want to say this, like a recalibration or a positioning in our world in such a way that it opens up tons of new doors for us. So I like all of that. Let me grab just a little deck here. Let me see. We'll use the white sage. And I'm just going to do clarifiers for you just to get a little bit more insight on some of these things. So I'm going to take this change card out here. Now, like, just to try and answer some of your questions, because I don't know what's popping up in your mind right now. I think the impetus for some of the ideas that you have Um, should I go the route of this computer gig or, working from home? I think that exploring it is a great idea. I think that I'm going to say that there's safe ways to explore it in a sense that might keep anybody else's fears or the voices of our head at bay, right? And so to do that, we want to stay, we might want to stay with what we're doing that keeps us stable and is familiar, but make space for the newness of this Ace of Crystals, this excitement. Let me see here. Please clarify this Ace of Crystals. What's going on in this center? The Devil, the Hanged Man, and the Eight of Wands. So the Devil is the sign of Capricorn, the Hanged Man is the sign of Pisces, the Eight of Wands is about movement, right? And it's about growth. And it can also be about inspiration and taking action. Now, when I look at these, I feel like if anything, this Ace of Crystals, if there's anything blocking it, with the Devil and the Hanged Man, to me, those can be about a reluctance, right? These are big cards. The Devil and the Hanged Man tend to be a little bit more fear driven, right? I don't want you to freak out about the Devil. If anything, the Devil's about it being the sign of Capricorn. And in this situation, I think this is about, do we trust what we know that's familiar, or do we trust what's exciting and new? And the Devil says, no, stay comfortable, stay safe. And that might be staying in the career that you're in and doing, not taking sort of the forbidden fruit, right? He's depicted by this snake, right? That's trying to entice us to take the forbidden fruit. The forbidden fruit to me is the newness of the career in the ideas that you're having about working from home and trying something new. That's the excitement of this Ace of Worlds, right? This Devil is some sort of fear that you might have going on, or fear like leading up to this point. And the Hanged Man is like indecision, trying not to sort of make the decision to transform. When we look at this caterpillar, right? Do we really want to fly and take responsibility for the butterfly that we see that's in this Brilliance card? That's a lot, like a big order, right? And so to me, it's a little bit, I could see why we would be scared. Now, this Eight of Wands says to me, ultimately, I kind of feel like you're going to have to take the jump. You're going to have to take the leap at some point because the desire is strong. And the reason why the desire is strong, and why I know that the desire is strong, is because the Devil and the Hanged Man both show up, and they're such powerful cards. It feels like there's this push-pull going on in these four cards. The Eight is about moving forward and doing so from a place of spirit, from a place of action, from a place of desire. And so, is there something else that we desire? I think so. Will we act on that desire? Will we continue to move? Yes, we will. Is there a way to move in a way that's safe? Yes, there is. And you'll know how to do that. So let me clarify this Four of Cups from the past. Please clarify the Four of Cups. We have the Empress, we have the Hermit, and we have the Knight of Wands. Okay, so the Empress is Taurus energy, also associated with the planet Venus. The Hermit is Virgo energy, right? So when I look at the Empress and I look at the Hermit, again, we've got, I don't know why you're leading with two majors each time I do clarifications, but I feel like this is a big situation for you, just with so many. We also have like these aces going on here and the matching nines. So to me, we even have a 4 and an 8, so that also is very much in sync. This feels a little bit like I look for patterns in the cards too, and I feel like there is a pattern happening here. And we also are ending on a Wands and a Wands, which is also very much in line. Wands, again, is about that action energy, about desire, fire moving forward, right? So when I look at the Empress and I look at this Four of Cups, to me, this, and we're talking about the past here, I feel like this was a moment where things were probably good for you. The Empress is about nourishment, love, mothering, fertility, creation, that sort of thing. There was probably this energy of everything that you had put into whatever this situation was and how it fell apart. And when it did fall apart, the anger that welled up in you, I feel like you probably withdrew from maybe the world or society. And now we're getting to this place of this Knight of Wands, which I kind of am getting this vibe that these might have been like in the near past, this holding back, this back and forth energy between do I want to, do I not, do I want to, do I not, oh, better stay safe, better not, I don't know, I don't know. And then this Eight of Wands is kind of like where we're at now, is like, no, I kind of do want to move forward. This does excite me. This is where my next phase is. The Knight of Wands is also that same energy, right? That sort of idea of wanting to do the right thing for the right reasons. And so in the past, we sort of, might have felt we were on top of our game. It kind of gives me a feeling like we didn't see it coming. This is the Empress. Like we felt like everything was okay. We felt like things were together. And then boom, like this kind of hit us, and maybe it shifted us off of our place of well-being, and we had to kind of go back inward and find it within ourselves, heal it within ourselves, and move forward to get to the state of the Knight of Wands, which is now this sort of noble, chivalrous, like doing the right thing for the right reasons, which leads us to this Nine of Wands, which is also this integrity, right? Which to me, knights are always about that, right? They're about doing the right thing, being of service, carrying the message, kind of. So to me, it's about being your own kind of, even though you were your own provider as the Empress, you may have had to sort of heal up with the power of that Hermit card. So please clarify the Nine of Wands. Four of Cups energy, which we have down here. We have the Page of Wands and the High Priestess. Ooh. All right, so Four of Cups energy we see down here. I feel like this whole situation is definitely connected to our higher self and what our higher self wants for us. Our higher self, I believe, wants us to also leave some of that behind, right? Doing the right thing for the right reasons, coupled off of this Four of Cups. It's like sort of giving back to ourselves in a way versus giving to others, right? This Page of Wands to me is about, again, a youthful sort of aspect of ourselves, trying to learn about maybe how to be in this integrity card, how to be in this energy, how to aspire to this energy, how to continue to deliver in this energy, how to sort of kind of establish ourselves or relive our lives. And then the High Priestess is also the sign of Pisces. She is very much about secrecy, psychic development, intuition, that sort of thing. And her coming in on this Nine of Wands to me feels like this is sort of deep within you. Listen to the sort of calling, if that makes any sense. Because to me, the High Priestess being in the midst of all of this is that whatever you might be challenging yourself to do right now is going to offer you quite a bit. The High Priestess, it may not always make sense, it may not always be clear, but she knows all of sort of the secrets, the secrets of our desires, of our intuitions, what it is we want. So let's clarify the Nine of Crystals. Six of Cups. Two of Swords. And the Lovers. So to me, the Six of Cups is about celebration, it's about abundance, and it's about sort of balance. It's about sort of challenging that. When I look at this Nine of Swords, to me it feels like we're afraid of losing maybe, what we had, even though what we have doesn't necessarily inspire us. The Two of Swords is about indecision, not being able to see clearly or make a clear decision. I think that this is kind of the thoughts of others or other people's perceptions, taking in the voices of other people's ideas, and those kind of confusing us or stopping us from trusting our own intuition, which is the moon here. We also have the high priestess up here. She wants to guide us. The lovers is kind of like, to me, I think the outcome is sort of like, what do we love? What inspires us the most? That's what we need to be chasing. This is the astrological sign of Gemini. So, not that that's important, but to me it's about, mentally being able to connect to what it is that we do and being inspired by that and loving that. So ultimately, this indecision will lead us to that, but we might have to fight our way through our own sort of thoughts and mind, our own restrictions, if we go that route, or if we allow this sort of Nine of Swords energy in. I think that it will ultimately lead to a good place, but will it be a struggle? Of course. So let's look at this Ace of Pentacles. We have the King of Swords. We have the Eight of Swords, and we have the Seven of Pentacles. All right, so to me, the King of Swords is about decisive, empowered decision-making, clear-cut thought, being a master of sort of what we want and going after it, not necessarily like, mincing our words. The Eight of Swords can be about sort of indecision, not necessarily seeing that we can find our own path. This ribbon wrapping around these two swords feels like it's like we need to connect ourself, like our mind and our heart, or our mind and our soul together in the truth and clarity of this blue ribbon, right? When I'm looking at that, and again, we've got this sort of, like, to me, these six swords are the Nine of Swords over here, right? This is the opinions of others, the focus of others, and what they're saying. You have to kind of almost stand in your own truth around this. You're not going to necessarily get the support or the direction that you want from the outside world, but I kind of feel like that's all okay because it makes it all the better for you. The Seven of Pentacles is sort of about through hard work and, again, attention to detail. We will be abundant, things will grow, opportunity will come. It may take a little while, and we'll have to be patient and fastidious in what we do and how we do it and remain clear, like this King of Swords energy, but it speaks to this idea that through that attention to detail and that hard work and dedication, we get there, right? We get there. And sevens to me are always about making a conscious choice. So again, we have to choose to stay with this Ace of Worlds if that's what we want, right? Now let's clarify this Eight of Pentacles, this outcome, because it is sort of like a change outcome, which speaks to we have the Ten of Cups, we have Judgment, and the Two of Pentacles. All right, Ten of Cups is about emotional abundance, everything coming together. It is sort of the dreams or wishes come true card. Judgment to me is about the sign of Scorpio, which we are in Scorpio season right now. To me, Judgment is about sort of when we look at this light, it's a light bulb pictured on the card. When we look at this light, it is sort of the clarity that comes with that. It is about us shining in our not solidarity, solitary sort of, decision, right? The truth coming out, being true to ourself, everything sort of coming out in the wash in a very big way. And then the Two of Pentacles to me is about coming into, when I think about this, because we're thinking about a new relationship to maybe a new monetary source or a new business idea, I think that there's a balance here. Usually the Two of Pentacles is depicted by a man juggling his finances. This doesn't speak to the juggling. This to me speaks, again, we've got that Eight energy, which we see in the Eight of Worlds here. It's about that balance and sort of that infinity symbol where we become at a greater depth or greater understanding, a greater ease with our earning ability, our money, our material wealth, that sort of a thing. So through trusting this change that could take place over the months to come, and by pursuing sort of this idea of an emotional bliss and dreams coming true, that actually does come true in this Judgment card is sort of the feeling I get. And we become sort of, you know, more, even more so in sync with our finances, our earning potential, our ability to understand what it is we desire and how to make that happen. Does that make sense? And I think all of that too makes sense to me because we're working off of this high priestess in our higher self ultimately. Even the Page of Wands is not a bad card. He's sort of like youthful and doesn't necessarily know what he's doing, but we're learning that through our desires of what it is we want, making the choice through the Four of Cups to go after our desires and listen to our higher self from this really deep, powerful place. We affect this change that leads us along this path towards this balance that brings us sort of a peace that I feel. And also, like, to me, twos are always about sort of unions, right? Where we either engage in deepening our relationship to ourselves or to another person. So to me, when I'm looking at this is about deepening our relationship probably to how we earn money, to how we relate to money, to how we create it. And this is about, to me, when I look at all of this is about doing this for yourself versus anyone else. The other thing I will say about all of this is I love all of the different majors that showed up. We have the High Priestess, we have the Lovers, we have the Empress, the Hermit, even the Devil, the Hanged Man, Judgment. There's some heavy duty cards in here. Like, I feel like there's lots of room for transformation going on in here as we go through this and as we've picked up these ideas, these inspirations to maybe research new careers. Yes, it can be scary at times. Yes, it can be challenging, but do we live in the excitement or do we live in the self-doubt and fear? That's the question I would want to pose to you. I hope that this reading has helped give you some perspective. Again, I will just caveat this. Any decisions you make in your real life are up to you and your responsibility, which I imagine you already know that. But I think that regardless of how this plays out, you will be fine. But there is opportunity here for you. There really is. There's a lot of sort of exciting cards that say to me that you can move forward in either route. But if you choose the one that's maybe a little bit more unknown, a little bit more, you know, scary, but at times also more exciting, you might find out new aspects of yourself that you didn't know existed. And that's kind of the feeling that I'm getting from this reading. So I hope that makes sense. I will cut this off because this is going to be a long video to upload. But please give me feedback and let me know. And I hope this answers your questions. Thank you so much for booking a reading. If you want to book another, please feel free to reach out to me. You're more than welcome to. And please, you know, turn me on to your friends or suggest me to anybody that would like to use my services. All right, thank you so much, Vicky, and I will talk to you soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye.